morning, Matt.
Rick.
Fresh off the slopes of not Park City, but
Solitude Resort, man. It was awesome.
Attaboy. It's the first time skiing, right?
I pretty much by the end of it, I claimed that, yeah. I mean, I skied when I was little, but that doesn't count.
It's fun.
Probably did more skiing in one day than I did my whole life.
I tell you, if you're from that's awesome, man.
I mean, it is a big deal. We saw somebody life flighted out.
Yeah, I mean, did you wear a helmet?
No.
Attaboy. I mean, I've never worn a helmet either when I skied, but it wasn't really like when I first learned. It was my college girlfriend, and she taught me to snowboard, and that was kind of a new sport, and nobody wore helmets back then. So.
All the snowboarders did.
Did they? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's smart. I mean, come on, especially if you're going through the trees and stuff like that.
Well, I didn't do that intentionally.
But you did go through some trees.
No. I was scared of. Like, we literally went this one route that I didn't think I was going to make it back. I think it took me an hour to get down the mountain. It's
scary when you don't know what you're doing, man. It's really scary.
It got real narrow, and then literally off a cliff.
Attaboy. And tell everybody what you were doing out there.
Well, I was out there opening up an alloy in Salt Lake City. Shout out to Angela. You guys rocked it. And then the same weekend, Jared was out in Billings, Montana opening them.
Yep. Shout out to those guys as well. So a couple open and more on the way.
I know. It's really exciting.
Yeah.
Are you going to make the next trip? There'll be another one here shortly.
Yeah, if I can. I was at a franchise conference trying to get more folks on board. So
doing your job.
That went well as well. Yeah. There was so it was interesting, obviously we're not new to franchising and how to operationalize things within a franchise structure, but I'm new to sort of the consultant network that of franchising. And that's what these conferences are, is it's the organizations that marry consultants, which find candidates that are looking to make a career transition or look for investment opportunity, and they tie them to brands. And so like you pay to have your brand put in inventory, and then you go to these conferences to, for lack of better terms, market to the consultants in the room and talk about why you're a valuable asset.
A lot of speed dating.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. I mean, this particular one, FranChoice, was a really good one. They do a great job, and they set it up where the consultants sit in a room in sort of a U-shaped fashion, and you have 5 minutes. There's lots of brands in there, and each hour there's like maybe 9 brands or so, and you have 5 minutes to pitch.
Is it like brand. The movie 40-Year-Old Virgin?
I don't remember anything about that had to do with pitching.
You don't remember Gina or Gina?
No. I've seen that movie though, but I don't remember that.
There you go, speed dating.
I do remember that part. Yeah, it is kind of like that. Yeah, but there's so many different like franchise concepts that you wouldn't think would be franchise. There was actually someone there who, I mean, they were targeting an older clientele, and so their idea for a franchise was to franchise like a nightclub or kind of a social club concept for guys with ED.
What?
I know, right?
So they show up there.
Well, they build the whole thing, and it turns out it was a total flop, and nobody came. Yes, I got him again. How
long have you been sitting on that?
Literally just 5 minutes ago, but I thought it would play really well.
That was the best one. And I fall for it every time.
It's like I literally told Matt I'm going to do a dad joke at the start of every podcast. And every podcast, I tie it in some way.
I'm a little jet lagged. I've been gone for 6 days.
Well, you have to admit, it set up pretty well, and I didn't really plan it to, but it did set up pretty well.
That was perfect.
So today, to get to...
I'm not speaking the rest of the podcast.
He's like, I hate you. I'm like literally like his dad. I just crush him every time with his dad jokes, and he hates me for it. Just same thing. Same. But we're going to talk about today, you guys, how to drive more revenue in your business through ancillary services, so other things that you can sell your personal training clients in a personal training business, and also retention. So obviously it's not hard to understand that people that pay more, right, or buy more things and they stay longer, that's the formula that gives you lifetime value. So how to drive more revenue through ancillary sales, things that you can sell, and retention strategies.
Yeah, so we spoke briefly, well, not briefly, we did a whole podcast on this kind of what they call the ascension model. So could you kind of cover that just a little bit
so
more?
We'll recap that a bit. So what's interesting is there's plenty of data to support that when, in a brand like ours, and it goes, we've talked about, we've got folks that have alloy tattoos on their skin. So there's a lot of brand loyalty, and that's amazing. Like to get something tattooed on your body, I don't know how there's any more, brand loyalty than that, honestly. So we've done some great things, and we're really proud of that. And I think when you look at someone who buys into a brand and they really enjoy the brand and maybe what the brand's doing for them or the image that comes along with the brand, one piece of research, or lots of research that we've seen, points towards if people can go deeper into that brand. And we're calling this the ascension model, meaning typically going deeper in means, buying into more of that brand.
Right.
Then they're going to stay longer because they're on a journey as well. And one thing that Alloy does well, and it's claimed in our franchise documents, is our retention. So if we have a client for 3 years and, here at corporate, it's like we've got clients that have been here 20 or 30 years. So if they don't have the ability to ascend within your brand, that's not going to be as sticky. And so one way to ascend people in the brand is to sell them things, right? Or up their spend, because that makes it stickier. And they actually want that, which is odd, because you would think, well, geez, if you have people spending all this money, they're going to look at it and say, well, gosh, I'm spending all this money. I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to engage with this brand any longer. But it's actually the exact opposite. So the
eventually
more
it runs its course, right? You get to the peak and you're going to move on.
That's it, because you kind of run out of room to ascend, right? I mean, there's different types of ascension that we talked about. There's literally fitness level ascension, and that's something our brand does as well, where we have measurements for movement and things like that we can ascend people's fitness level over time in a tangible way that they can recognize.
Yep.
So it's a journey, right? Fitness-wise, but there's also another thing going on, and this is with any business, where the deeper you get into that brand, and part of that means financial commitment to that brand, the more you like it.
Yep.
And so you need to provide these other vehicles for ascension, and not only will you realize more revenue, but that revenue will also then drive a higher retention rate over time. So they kind of work together, which is a super interesting dynamic. But yeah, that's exactly what we talked about, and we did a whole podcast on that, so you can refer back to that and kind of how that works. But
yeah, so let's talk about some of the things that we do here. I mean, something we didn't talk about before is easy is literally, we drive through like our milestone program, right? Literally people coming into the gym, achieving milestones just for visits, right? So long, you imagine getting to 25 visits, 50 visits, 250 visits, you're really invested in that place. They keep you around for a long time.
Yeah, 100%. So let's do this though, because I think for me, like so many things that come to mind, and I know they do for you too. Like, let's try to split it just for the listeners into like things we can sell,
all right,
and then things that go on the retention side. So, and that's sequentially kind of how things work, right? Like you got to get them on board, and then there's more things you can sell, and then you get them to different retention strategies later. Okay. So let's shelf that one for the retention strategy. I was
really excited to talk about that one.
I know, I could tell. I was very excited. I do this to Matt. I'm like, yeah, great idea. Let me pat him on the head. We'll get back to that later, Matt. That's a fine idea, But this is kind of how we work, by the way. But all kidding aside, that is great, and I do want to touch base on that. But let's talk about the most obvious one, which is if somebody's like, we have 3 memberships: good, better, best. Right. We keep it simple, right? Mm-hmm. Well, as we know, unless you're really self-motivated and you're just coming here one day a week for like the knowledge, and we're using the app to drive extra workouts for you to do on your own, and we can certainly do that. Most of our customers, and when I say most, I mean we're in the high 90 percentile, do either 2 or 3 days a week. So one way to ascend someone would to increase their frequency from 2 to 3 days a week.
Sure.
That customer is now more valuable to you. They're getting more value because their price per session will go down based on the way our pricing structure works. So they're getting a better value, and they're getting more exposure to you. And as we know, like the more you see your coach, the more all the other things in your life fall into line, and they're able to hold you accountable, and you're building self-efficacy, but now you're showing up to the gym 3 days a week instead of 2 days a week. So that's the most obvious, but that's one way to ascend someone. And something to sell them would be sell them more sessions, period. Yeah, exactly. So moving from one membership to the other. The other would be to sell them ancillary products that also speak to their goals. And that's really important. And you and I talk about that. Like, you have to have integrity around the things that you're selling into your members. Make sure that those things are vehicles for success for your customers.
Solution-based benefit both parties, right?
100%. Yeah, that's a great way to put it, actually. Solution-based sales based on things that they need. So, one of those would be supplements, as an example. So, we have a certain philosophy around nutrition that we coach. One of those things would be like, make sure you get adequate protein. And that's very difficult for people to do. And I think when they really look at it, and we're fortunate enough to have our app pull in MyFitnessPal, so we could track your protein intake for a week and let's see what it looks like. Most people are undershooting, and especially in the age category that we're targeting, which I'm in, by the way, we don't process food as efficiently as younger folks do. So that means you sort of have to overshoot your protein goals to actually land where you need to. And I don't care what the current, Self magazine tells you or whatever those things are. They're usually a little bit behind the curve on the science, right? Or the ADA or whatever. It's like, no, you need this much protein. And there's a myriad of reasons from satiety to processing it for lean tissue. And that's something we're really trying to hold on to at my age, is trying to maintain that muscle. So it's really, really important. Well, most people aren't going to get it. So what's a good solution? You're going to tell them what? Go get a protein supplement, right?
Yeah, and we literally have that for you.
Right. And I mean, it's third-party tested and it's really clean. And I mean, that's all the integrity side of like, okay, this is a solution that will help people. So let's go find the best solution. And then, by the way, it also solves the ascension model that we're talking about, where now they're buying into more of alloy, if you will. But all those things they're buying are only going to move them towards their goals sooner. Right. And it has to be that. That's the only way to do it. If you're selling somebody some nonsense that's not going to help them at all, I mean, again, it would be very difficult, especially in the type of clientele that we're selling into, which they're typically pretty smart. They're pretty savvy consumers. They're going to see right through that. So just make sure anything that you add to this list of ancillary, benefits or sales, that it's benefit to the client, because they're going to recognize it if it is or if it isn't.
Oh yeah, I mean, just supplements. Just talk a second. I mean, we like to provide solutions. Our whole model is built on like we can literally take care of you a couple times a week, give you everything you need. So it's a lot of convenience. So literally come to the gym, we'll help you with nutrition. Here's your supplements. That also makes it more stickier. One-stop shop.
Yeah, and to your point, I think convenience is really a great way to put it. One way to help people, right, to get where they need to be is to make it faster. So save them time. And that's big for working with a clientele that's typically they're A players, they're successful in their own right. So time is very important and it's very valuable for them. So an hour or two of their time or a couple hours of their time is super valuable typically. So if you can save them time, and we've gone as far in our supplement store as to build bundles that are specific to certain goals, and we could just email them the link and say, this is what we talked about. Literally click here and pop your credit card in and you're going to get it every month. And then just done, right?
Right.
That's going to help them. It's going to help the company earn more revenue. It's going to help the client reach their goals, and that again, that's the win-win that we're looking for.
That's what we want.
Yep. What else is in the sell them more? So we've got that. What a gear store, is that one?
Yeah, we have a whole gear store.
Yep. So I mean, getting people into your gear, build things that people would want to wear. Like I'm rocking this sweet hoodie. So
I
is
haven't
Matt
seen
actually.
That one yet.
Yeah, it's the new one that's got personal training on it. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
But get people in your gear. Listen, if they're willing to put a tattoo on their body around alloy, then I'm pretty sure they'd like to rock a hoodie or something. And so we have a great gear store. Our franchisees can buy that at a steep discount and then, sell it at retail to their clientele. And then I guess this crosses over more into the retention side, but here are ideas on how these two things work together. If people then wear their, alloy logoed gear into workout, they get their name in the hat, and we do a drawing at the end of the month, and we'll give something away, like an additional personal training session or a protein shake or something like the grab and go shake or whatever you want that to be. The point is that those two things are tied together. So you sell them the gear that they're proud to rock while they're, going to Whole Foods and picking up the kids, or going to, brunch with the girls, whatever that is, or, playing golf with the dudes, right? And then, they're going to wear it into the gym and then wear it everywhere else in town. So it's like, it really kills two birds with one stone. And there's a lot of examples like that where they sort of commingle the two benefits.
Well, that's kind of what we look at it all, right?
We wanna it is one thing, essentially. Yeah, exactly.
All right, cool. Well, any other benefits like that? I mean, we have sessions, supplement store, gear store. You ready to go into more of the retention side?
Yeah, I think that's it, really. I mean, we have a simple model and simple scale, so you have to keep it simple. And so that's about it. But I mean, those are two things that certainly the gear store, you could say, is that really helping your customers? Yes, in the sense that there's a sort of a contest on the back end of that, chance to win.
I mean, there's pride in what you're wearing, right?
It is.
I mean, it's how many people, if you see CrossFit, people repping CrossFit, there's pride in it. That's building your brand, making it stickier, making them be there.
Now, if I see someone in a CrossFit shirt, I already know everything I need to know about them. They eat paleo, they wear those toe shoes, and all they're going to talk about is their Fran time. I'm already bored.
Exactly. But I mean, we have it built where it's nice, where it's literally right there for our franchisees.
Yeah, 100%. All
right, let's go into retention. Get a little irritated by that, didn't
you? Well, no, CrossFit's great if you want to do it.
You missed the whole point of what I said. All right.
Sorry. Damn it with the CrossFit. That's it's really not about CrossFit. Calm down.
All right, let's talk about retention. What do we have in place there? We have that rewards program and our milestones, which I went into a little bit. Can you talk to me where that came about?
Yeah, just again, recognizing people's effort. So I think when we talk about this, you and I have had these conversations through the lens of kids. It's like, the outcomes are important, but it's more the process that's important, right? And so like recognizing that people are just show up. Kind of like if kids get a good grade, you should always credit it to hard work, not to talent, right? It's sort of like same thing in fitness. It's like you don't want to credit someone's fitness success to a special single exercise or some single modality where you're wearing an electric suit and it's like making your muscles pulse. I mean, that stuff's ridiculous, right? So you don't want to credit it to something like that. You want to credit it to hard work. And then what happens is if someone runs into a plateau, if it, again, use it for kids, run into a hard class, if the reason that they got there was because they showed up every time and they worked hard, then the solution to the next plateau will be to show up and work hard, right? It won't be that like, oh, well, I guess this trick suit didn't work, or I guess I'm not as good at math as I thought I was. It's like, no, double down, like make sure you credit the thing. And the sort of the rewards program is exactly that. We're crediting the fact that they're just showing up because that's 90% of the battle, and we understand that. That's the work, right? And it's milestone workouts. And if you want, we've got, if this is something that clubs can choose to do or not, but we've got t-shirts that have the graphics on the sleeve that match the milestones. If you want to print those and hand them out, great. We find that like beyond a certain amount, like you start giving people t-shirts all the time and they're like, I already got 5 of these. Don't worry about it. So it might lose a little of its luster, but maybe for the first few times, whatever you want to do, we've got all these mechanisms in place for that.
So, we have the rewards program that literally, tracks like visits, like how many times somebody comes in. So it plays in with the milestones. It literally gives people points. Tracks like if they refer somebody to the gym for points. Tracks if like say for some of the behaviors like checking in online gives them points, and then literally clients at the end of the day can go use those points to buy Alloy swag, like gift cards, things like that, which is great. Goes right into that ascension model, keeps it sticky. It goes from there.
Well, and again, it's like structured rewards. We've talked about this. They don't do everything for people, like but it is nice to reward certain behavior. Yeah. So all these things speak to making it stickier, right? And so structured rewards, the great thing is for us, they're built in a sandbox. They're all automated through the CRM. And when they go to redeem their rewards, it's all on brand. So it looks perfect. And like, I can think about like cutting across the gym, and there's a client there who is wearing an outfit. And she's like, oh, check it out. I bought my tights. I got the shirt, these socks, and this hat all from my rewards. I was like, oh, that's cool. So, there are people that will redeem their rewards, and it's all on brand, and they can also redeem them for local stuff, like you said, coffee shops. It doesn't have to be just gym swag all the time, but it can be. So either way, like structured rewards, are they going to move the needle 100%? No. But is it going to make it stickier? Oh, yes, of course. And it also rewards behaviors that you think are most valuable for clients, and whether it's showing up, referring people, all the things that are important.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it's, not, again, it doesn't play on everybody, but there's going to be certain people that love it. They're going in there buying yoga pants and, things like that. So you're breeding good, successful clients. They buy into you. They think it's really cool. We have other things that hit well for other people,
Yeah, no, 100%. So have you bought any yoga pants with your rewards?
I have multiple pair.
Interesting.
For my hardcore Pilates, things like that.
Oh, like your home Pilates?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know. I'd like to see that.
Other things that we do for retention, we have, just our basic structure of our sessions and what we do, our 7 core tenets that you came up with years and years ago. You want to talk about this?
Well, it's just there's structure built around things that help retention. So again, here's a small example. Well, at the end of every trainer's shift, anybody that was new or that didn't show up receives a text message. If they're new, you're going to get a pat on the back for showing up. Can't wait to see you Thursday. It's just a personal touch, right? Mm-hmm. If you didn't show up, you're going to need something to say like, hey, Matt, missed you today. Where were you? Am I still going to see you Thursday? I hope you're okay. Just something to know that someone out there is counting on you being there, that they're waiting for you. And if you're not, that you were missed, right? Mm-hmm. As an individual, it's really important. So all those things lead to retention.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's the way our sessions are built. Literally that accountability to you and the other people in your group, to the coach there, to making a session.
Yeah. And so part of it, we get sort of the, I guess I would say the best parts of like a group training model, in addition to the great parts of personal training.
Right.
So we can literally deliver on personal training with up to 6 people, but there's something about a small group of people that get to know each other really well that adds a lot more accountability. And so it's not only the coach typically reaching out, that's part of our business process, but inevitably the other people in the session will also reach out, because people pick time slots and build their life around it. That's how personal training's always worked for us for 30 years. It's like, hey, I want 9 a.m. and then I'll build my whole life around it. And that's how you build a habit, right? You always work out at this time, and that way you can plan around that. And so that means that so are the other 5 people in your group. So you're getting to know them really well. And if they don't show up, you're going to hear from the other people in the group. So you have accountability to the coach, and we're showing that we care. And you have accountability to your other, members that are in there with you that are now more than likely your friends, and they're holding you accountable as well. So the accountability goes even higher. So yeah, that's just the business structure. We did a whole podcast on like maybe sometimes it's just your business is broken,
right?
Maybe it's nothing more than that. So don't overthink it, right? So yeah, I think those are the two main things. But so listen, guys, two ways, right? You can increase spend for a member, and in some ways they crave it based on the lens that we just gave you. Additionally, you could put processes in place for retention, and either way, those are two levers you can pull. Like how much people spend and how long they stay. That's a lifetime valuable lifetime valuable. That's your lifetime value.
He's lost it.
I literally lost control of my tongue. That's not a dad joke. You don't have to get paranoid about this. Lifetime value of a customer. Thank you very much.
Boom.
That's the formula. So I hope that helps. We had a little bit of a technical snafu in the middle, so I'm sure that our amazing podcast producer can stitch all this together. But if it's a little squeaker or something in the middle, that's what it was.
All right. Well, thank you for all that.
All right, buddy. See ya.